You're on round 2, 75 hard, huh?
Round 2, yes.
Well, how many days are you in?
Day 8 right now.
Day 8. How's it going? How's the second
Man,
round versus the first one?
I'm getting through it right now. I'm not first part of the week, you're excited about it. I think the novelty of doing it the first time, it's different. Like I'm better at certain things, but I'm just I'm not as intentional, I think, as I was the first time. So like last night I had to do my outdoor run at 11 p.m. Night before I had to do it at 10:30.
So you're really doing 75 hard.
Yeah, I'm making it hard.
Not
on myself.
75 convenient.
No, I'm making it hard on myself because I could. Like I mean, like in what I did this morning is I just woke up just exhausted, and I had a 5 a.m. workout that I had to go that I went to. So it was just like I was so tired, and so what I did is I just set a calendar invite to myself that like, all right, every day I'm just gonna do it. I'm going to schedule calls from like 2 to 3, and I'm going to do my walk or my ruck or my run or whatever, my outdoor workout. It's now on my calendar, because if I wait till after, like, now with kids' sports and then dinner and then putting them to bed, it's like, even at best, if I don't do it by 5 o'clock, then there's no chance I'm doing it again until 8:30 or 9. Mm-hmm. So it's dark and it's just different, right?
Yeah.
So
taking away from wife time.
Yeah, and when it's like, I mean, half my day I'm on calls anyways. Might as well just do it while out rucking or walking or weighted walk or whatever. Yeah, or running or whatever the outdoor workout is that day. You're
doing it this time around because of a buddy's doing it with you or something?
Yeah, some guys at that CrossFit. So there's 5 of us that.
And they never done it before?
Never done it. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So the water thing caught them by surprise. Yeah. I was like, y'all are a bunch of rookies. I knew. Yeah. I knew what the water does. Yeah. So, but I mean, I feel good relative, other than just like I'm up too late. Yeah. So it's helping, but at the same time, it's kind of now hurting you, this way of doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Just because again, it's part of what the program was created for, is like recognizing that like you can do all these things and you can fit them in. Mm-hmm. You just have to time block, you have to schedule, you have to be organized, but you have to be intentional about it. Yeah. And so like the reading's been easier this time. Diet has been, I think diet's always like the first few weeks is always just an adjustment. My dad's birthday was yesterday and we went to an Italian restaurant, right? And they have these garlic rolls that look like cinnamon rolls. Yeah. And I'm just like, come on, y'all. Come on. Like we're here. And then they had like carrot cake. Yeah. The whole
Why couldn't he have picked like, what's the restaurant that replaced all the Zoes?
Kava.
Yeah. Why couldn't he have Kava?
Yeah. A little cauliflower rice and chicken.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I do not want to commit to 75 hard again simply for the second workout. Yeah. Not that it's hard. Yeah. Just fitting it into my schedule. As we had the conversation however many months back, me, you, and Darren, about I don't have time, Yep. And at the time, my life looked a lot different than it does today.
I was going to say, can you imagine even anywhere, whether you started it same time I did, or even, at the end of it, like in the phase of life that you're going to be in the next 3 days? Yeah.
Yeah. Wednesday.
Yeah. So we're recording this Monday. Yeah. And
you're listening to this Thursday. I had my baby yesterday.
Yes. Yes. So
my third son.
So Ben has probably not slept since we recorded this.
No.
So
no. I'm soaking up my last unit. But even at work, like busiest I've ever been.
Gosh, yeah.
My 6-year-old is in 2 sports right now, so multiple nights of practices and games.
What are y'all doing? Baseball?
Soccer and baseball.
Soccer and baseball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're weirdos. We play soccer in our house.
Rocco just started baseball.
Oh, yeah? What's he think?
We were not a baseball family. Oh, bro. I'm already so annoyed with baseball just because, like, the kid is obsessed with it already.
Is he really?
Yeah, because he joined late to a team because we've, like, tried not to play baseball. Uh-huh. And so
it's the worst sport for that age. Dude,
oh, my
No
God.
activity.
It was fun.
You guys hit a moving object.
The game Saturday was fun. Like, it really was fun. And he, for literally never putting a glove on, he's literally never put a baseball glove on, like, he's somewhat natural at it.
That's good.
He's probably the 4th best kid on his team. And he's literally never swung a bat and never caught a baseball with. But he throws the ball well. But
is it coach pitch or T-ball?
Coach, yeah. So 3 pitches and then you hit off a tee. But the kid is obsessed with it. All he talks about, hey, can we go practice? Can we go
Really?
practice? Can we go practice? Hey, can we go practice? Hey, my game's Saturday at 10:30. Hey, can we go practice? Hey, my game's Saturday at 10:30. Hey, is it Saturday at 10:30 yet? I mean, nonstop, bro, nonstop. So I mean, it's fun. Like I will admit we've not been great parents with the twins because it's kind of just like, hey, you just go along for the ride with your older siblings.
Yep.
And so it's good for them to like actually kind of start to have their own little identity and do their own deal. So, but yeah,
that's funny.
And then we have freaking flag football. My 3rd grade son Friday nights at 9 p.m. is when they have 3rd graders playing football.
That's too many teams in the league. That's the problem there?
Yeah. Well, because the games are Friday nights, and so it's not Saturday.
That's crazy.
And so I mean, yeah, it's Prosper. I don't know. Y'all got it backwards there. Like in Salina, we have families.
No, we don't do that.
And there's like culture.
Well, the other night we had to play soccer at 7:15 on a Thursday night
for 6-year-olds.
Yeah, for 6-year-olds.
So you're not getting home till 9 o'clock.
That was one random night thing, but that's just because they have so many teams.
Yeah, it's true.
There's so many kids out there. Like you go out on a Saturday, and baseball fields are packed, soccer fields are packed, flag football field. I mean, there's people everywhere.
Anyways, if you don't live in Texas, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
how much sports revolve around everything. So y'all, come on, let's go. Let's go. Yep. But we're making it sound bad, but it is pretty fun.
It's a blast.
It is fun.
They always say, like, is it more fun to play or to watch your kids play? I always thought that was stupid. Playing was so much fun. But I get the argument now. It is a blast watching them play.
So great.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah, it is great.
So, speaking of, I know you're not watching the tournament, but we're down to the Final Four.
I got an email from our boss.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Final Four already. All right. Yeah.
So one of the teams, and this isn't basketball related. I mean, it is. But UConn is one of the Final Four. And they have 3 players who are Muslim and are observing Ramadan right now. And Ramadan is a full month where you don't eat or drink. Now, I'm sure there's more to it. But you don't eat or drink from sun up to sundown. And so they're playing in an NCAA basketball tournament with no food or water. They're playing high-level basketball. One of them is a star player. Like, he plays a lot. And he's sitting there and he can't have any, like, even on the bench in the middle of a game, he can't have water or Gatorade.
During the day or
once the sun goes down, then he's good.
Okay.
He's good.
Okay.
So, but if their game is at 2:00 in the afternoon,
just pray for an evening game.
He just goes. Now he said he's used to it because he's been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But still, think about playing a Division I basketball game with no water.
I just wonder what
food all day.
What that sprint is like to get as much fluids at night.
It's like if your game's at like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
I guess at halftime you can have, or whenever the sun goes down officially. So yeah, it's just really interesting. I've never heard that.
Man.
So anyway, and then another thing that's funny over the weekend. Jocko has a book series for kids. Have you seen this?
No.
It's called The Warrior Kid.
Okay.
And it's like a series of this kid. He's kind of a wimpy, gets bullied kid. He's got an uncle who's a Navy SEAL that comes and spends the summer with him and basically turns into a badass. And so each book is a different series of him going through bullying and getting into jiu-jitsu and starting working out. And he just transforms through this series into a kid that's like, confident and strong. And so it's a really good series, really good lessons. And so we've been reading through, Cooper and I have been reading through the series. You need to check it. It's called The Warrior Kid.
Warrior Kid.
Just go to Amazon and it's got, I think it's like 4 or 5 books.
Can you order it as a series?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the 4th one that we're on right now I think it's called the Warrior Kid Field Manual, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And there's a code in there. The Warrior Kid Code is what it talks about. And it's basically this kid put together, and the kid in the book, the character, 9 different codes that he lives by. And just, like treating others with respect and, working out and exercising his body. And so the book encourages you with your child to put their own code together and to list out. So that's what my son and I did yesterday. And these are all his. Like I thought it was awesome, the list that he came up. I didn't help him at all. These were all from his brain. But here's the Warrior Kid Code by Cooper Gibbs. Number 1, a warrior kid learns the best way to deal with his emotions. Number 2, a warrior kid exercises his body and makes healthy food choices. Number 3, a warrior kid treats others how he wants to be treated. Again, he came up with all these himself.
What?
Yeah. Number 4, a warrior kid does not bully others and helps those who are being bullied. Number 5, a warrior kid helps those in need. Number 6, a warrior kid enjoys practicing and getting better. Number 7, a warrior kid does not give up or quit when it's difficult. There's 12 of them total. Number 8, a warrior kid saves his money and gives generously. These are the lessons these books are teaching you.
What?
Yeah. 9, a warrior kid always tells the truth. 10, a warrior kid does the right thing even when the right thing is hard to do. 11, a warrior kid listens to his parents. I like that one. And then 12, a warrior kid helps with chores around the house. Like that one as well.
Dude.
So this is the code. So we're printed it out, going to laminate it, put it up in his room so he sees it every day.
Dude,
But
okay, I'm
this
literally
book series
ordering
is-
this
yeah,
right now.
Yeah, it's been so, and he's always excited at bedtime because we get to read another chapter of the Warrior Kid. Yeah.
I love this.
So if you're a parent and you got kids, it's probably better for, I would say 6 to 10.
Okay.
Maybe beyond that, it might be a little elementary, but it's Jocko. Well, go to Amazon and check those out because it's been an awesome. It's all the lessons that we talk about on this podcast, frankly.
Dude.
But it's dumbed down to a cool kid's story.
Okay, so how many books are there, did you say?
I think there's 4 or 5.
I'm not just.
I think we accidentally missed the third one because we got 2, and then this 4th one was a field manual.
Okay.
And then there's like one Mikey and the Dragons or Slays the Dragons or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I see
another
that.
kid's book. So, but if I think there should be 1, 2, and 3, and then 4th is a field manual. So
okay.
check it out.
Boom.
If you're a fan of Jocko at all, and it's basically all the lessons he teaches, but to kids.
Big fan.
So, really cool.
Big fan.
So anyway, go check that out. Before we get any further and onto the topic today, though, did want to thank our partners, Sleep Number. As we teased in the show, I will not be sleeping, but we're going to put the Sleep Number to the test. We're going to put the old quality versus quantity to test here. So I won't be getting the amount of hours that I want to sleep, but I will hopefully be getting the quality, and that's thanks to Sleep Number and their 360 smart beds. They have retail stores literally all over the country. Go check them out. All sorts of athletes and athletes trust, or athletes and actors and celebrities trust Sleep Number. So go check them out, sleepnumber.com or a retail store near you. And then our second partner, Choctaw Casinos and Resorts, saw my way in. They're giving away in April and May. It's their green something or other, the whole play on with the Masters being here in April. So they're giving away $4 million in April and May, which we talk about all the time. No other venue is giving you money to show up and be entertained. So concerts, swim up bar, resort style, pool, and all that good stuff. Go have yourself a great time up at Choctaw Casinos and Resort. Today's topic, though, is actually one that you suggested.
What?
Which we never do that. We never take Tyler suggestions.
Never.
We just tell them to shut up and sit in the corner and add value randomly. But it's the topic of taking criticism. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, Tyler, how you, just that concept in general, how you have done that. Mm-hmm. Done that well, maybe done that not so well in your life. What is that concept? What is that thought when you think about taking criticism?
So this is like a really big topic, right? This is not, I think I want to be careful on just saying, hey, how well do I handle criticism? Probably not well.
Yeah.
Probably not well. I think like if we're all being honest with ourselves, I think everyone would probably say the same thing if we're being honest. Mm-hmm. I try and I speak a lot about trying to be coachable and to try to do all those things, but I just think interactions with my wife, anytime that there's a correction, that I immediately go to either defensive, I go to aggressive, I go to like secluded, where I'll like pull away, and that's just it's not a great way to live, right? And it's a handling criticism, and we went through a little wisdom series, right? Handling criticism well is one of the greatest signs of true wisdom, because if you are if you are receiving criticism out of love, now there's multiple kinds of criticism. I mean, we can go through that, but if you are getting criticism from love, from someone that you trust, how you handle it says a lot about where you are, like as a person, husband, wife, son, daughter, friend, colleague, whatever it is, because it is a sign of wisdom. If you are handling it the way I just described, I see myself, like that is a sign of foolishness. If someone is trying to give correction to a flaw, a sin, an oversight, whatever it may be, and you're not even willing to hear it, then that's foolish. Mm-hmm. Think about bosses that you all have had over your lives. Bosses that if you come in and and you notice a legitimate problem, or you notice a gap maybe in a plan or calculation, or you notice something that's being implemented is actually harming someone or something, and you call it out, and a boss just says, stay in your lane. Don't worry about it. I got it. Or is defensive or penalizes you for bringing something like that up. What is typically, if that is a leader, what is typically the result of the group that person is in charge of? Probably not real productive, right? And think about, with criticism, it's one of those deals that you don't want to hear it, but it's absolutely necessary for growth.
Yeah.
Because we have a first-person point of view. We only see out of our eyes. We cannot see a third-person perspective view of some of the things that we do. I mean, people that have high emotional intelligence maybe are better at seeing themselves and grading themselves and holding themselves accountable, but we need other people. That's why we talk about community a lot, because they see shortcomings from us that we can't see ourselves. So when we talk about like handling criticism, I mean, I think maybe first question everybody asks is just how do you typically handle criticism?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of variables at play. I think the three main variables I think about when I think about criticism is the number one thing I usually look at. And again, this has all happened very quickly, but number one thing I usually look at is who's delivering the criticism.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yep.
What's my relationship to this person? Are they a close person? Are they somebody I've never met? Is it some random troll online?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes into mind. Second thing that comes to mind is, what is the message? What's the criticism? Is it valid? Is it invalid? Is it, what is the actual content of the message? And then the third thing is, how are they delivering it?
Yep.
Is it out of love? Is it out of anger? Is it, was it thought out? So I think those three things are all swirling in my head when I receive that criticism. And then maybe variables that play off of that, I don't know, it could be some things like, because you think it's somebody I respect, but it's a subject matter. They're giving me criticism on a subject matter they know nothing about.
Yes.
So you can replace, you can have,
Yeah.
So you can have somebody you really respect, and normally you take their criticism, but it's a subject matter they know nothing about. So you're replacing all these variables. They're all interchangeable.
For example, like I absolutely want 100% respect Tiffany, my wife, more than anybody else that I know. And she is capable of more things than anybody else I know. Like, she's just incredible. But if she starts correcting me on driving or directions, like there's just not much validity to it. Like,
you're not.
Hey, I hear you and I appreciate you. And my go-to response whenever she'll come in with a correction on something that's just outlandish, it's like, babe, someday you'll trust me. Someday you'll trust me.
Yeah. That's a good way to de-escalate. Yeah. For me,
it typically now escalates her because she knows what I mean by it.
Yeah. For me, my ego pops up very, very quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's why team sports is so valuable. At least it was for me, and football in particular, is because you're getting criticized constantly. Your criticism muscle is being worked all the time. And so you're constantly getting, I mean, we literally have film sessions where the entire point of the film session is to get berated and criticized.
Do you think that like college coaches, they'll have their little team meeting, coaches only, right? And they'll do their deal and then they'll come back down. Like, I feel like there's days that it's just like, hey, just go in hard on these guys today. Yeah. Like, we're all on the same page. Everybody just go in. I don't care if they do something good, make them feel terrible.
Oh, they absolutely have those conversations. They also, it's the old cliche, if we're not on you, if we're not getting on you, now you should be worried. Yeah. If I'm not trying to correct you, that means I've given up on you.
Yeah.
So criticism, they would spin it as a medal of honor, as a good thing. You want me to criticize you because it means I think that there's something in you.
Yeah.
So that, now, do they always deliver it the best way? No. Now I went to a private Christian school, so I don't think I heard a single cuss word my entire.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, they didn't cuss.
Oh,
not a single.
Gosh.
Yeah, coaches did not cuss. That was a thing like the head coach implemented.
And that's awesome because that takes discipline. Because
huge discipline.
I was not a cusser, and like the football field was like the only place I ever did.
No, it was. Now players did obviously.
Yeah,
but coaches, no. You would never get cursed out, yelled at, berated with cussing involved at the school I went to.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah. So to your point,
I can't even do that with
a lot of discipline.
Third graders.
Because a well placed cuss word can have a great effect.
Yeah, but sure. I agree. I think the culture of it, like, I mean, everybody's seen the Amazon series with Jason Garrett and the Cowboys when he was here, is like super polished, very intelligent guy, but like the dude has a mouth like a sailor, like, and cusses all the time.
Funny he was able to do TV.
I know. And it's interesting because they really do, to your point, is when coaches just use that all the time, right? And degrading, and, you know, we're talking about criticism, but like tangent on cussing, and it's just like it just loses its meaning too. Yeah. It doesn't mean
it's
much.
Another word at that point. Yeah. You hear it so much.
Yeah, but I agree. Yeah. If it's held back and reserved and a well-positioned and grammatically correct placement of a cuss word.
But anyway, I guess my point in saying all that is you get used to it. Like you're being criticized constantly in that realm. But it still doesn't, you know, because once you, I mean, I'm thinking our job today, it's been a while since I've been criticized, or you know, there's coaching tips and things like that, but not like back in, you know, football playing days. Yeah. And so, but even then, even though it happened all the time, there was still the ego in me that thought I knew better. Yeah. Or they don't know what they're talking about. Or that was always my, you don't know what you're talking about. That was just my instant. Yeah. You know, you're not going to tell me what to do. Yeah. As a kid, that was my immediate go-to was, you know, well, you can't tell me what to do. Yeah. Not that I would act on that or outwardly portray that, but that's what's going on in my head. Internally, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so are you receiving,
you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, are you receiving the correction?
Right. Yeah. Right. So I had to get better over time at what's the message, who's delivering it, and what's the, you know, what are they actually, how are they delivering it? Yeah. And so if I looked at those three things and those three things all checked out, typically I would take, that's funny. You can't see this, but Tyler's actually getting a FaceTime request from
Jason
the man
Garrett.
We just talked about, Jason Garrett. Are you going to answer it? Answer it.
No.
Yeah, see what happens. Answer it. Answer it. Yeah. Say, hey, coach, I'm on a podcast. Stay with us.
That's
you missed random. It. That's funny. What a flex, though. We were just talking about him.
That's odd. Anyways.
Does he call you often?
He's literally never.
It must have been a butt FaceTime. But that FaceTime's hard to butt dial.
Yeah. I didn't call him because we were talking about it. Did Siri just
Siri called him. Siri called him.
Goodness. That's
funny. Yeah. Anyways. So Coach Garrett's always listening, apparently. He's going to give you some criticism.
Apparently.
On what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I think I've gotten better. Now I appreciate criticism. Mm-hmm. Again, depending on how it's delivered, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But I'm in a position now, again, of learning and trying to do my job effectively and do it well. Mm-hmm. I ask for criticism. I ask for coaching. I ask for feedback. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't say criticism, but ask for feedback for sure. Yeah. And so if you can just tone down the ego just a little bit and hear the message and hear what they're trying to say, even if none of those variables are correct and it is a shitty way of delivering it and it's a horrible message, I still try in my wisdom to take what I can from it to make me better, because ultimately it's coming from somewhere.
Well, but that's it, right? That, like you said, that's the wise part of it is okay, hey, what can I take to grow? Yeah. What can I take to use it? And then whether it be grow like internally or grow that specific relationship, because they see that, okay, there's a conscious effort being made. They took correction. They handled it well. I mean, there's all sorts of growth, and that's the wisdom that we're talking about. But I think, maybe let's focus on, let's assume that the criticism given is from someone you care about, you trust, and the criticism is legitimate, right? Mm-hmm. It's a legitimate point of criticism. We filtered out all the other nonsense, like, there's even in marriages, right? There's just like constant criticism all the time. Yeah. That's like unnecessary, unhelpful, right? Like, let's get rid of that. Like, that's not this, because I think when I heard this message for the very first time from Jamin Roller, who's our pastor, I was thinking like, well, what about like when they're just nagging or when they're doing this and they're criticizing this, right? Okay, get all of that stuff out of it. But it's legitimate. How do you handle it when you either know deep down in your heart that they are right and correction is needed, or like there is some truth to it? Because here's the thing, it's like jokes, right? If there's criticism, there's going to be some truth to it, and you alluded to it. There's going to be some truth to that criticism somewhere. You may just have to dig in and find it.
Right.
So I think it's, do you ignore it? And these are questions that I want everybody to kind of ask themselves. Do you ignore it? Do you get defensive? Or do you actually take action on it? Yeah. Like, kind of what category, or attempt to take action into it? Because I think the unwise people will just ignore it. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, okay. And even like the lip service of like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, totally. I'll fix it. And then do nothing different. Or there's the defensive, where now you start attacking the other person, right?
Yeah.
You counter their criticism with more criticism back on them. Mm-hmm. And what does that do? That does nothing. Right. It does nothing for yourself. That does nothing for them. If someone is coming to you from a loving place with the intention of helping and correcting something, one, that either you're hurting other people or you're potentially going to be hurting yourself. And then, or are you going to be someone that, okay, I'm going to receive it, I'm going to hear it, I'm going to process it, and like you described, like, okay, I'm going to filter it through these 3 layers, and then, okay, now what's the plan of action?
Yeah, I think at this point in life, given all those other variables are, not at play, and it is that straight up, good-hearted from somebody I love, yeah, I've got no problem in taking that criticism and applying it and changing. Got no problem at all.
Yeah.
Now, I've been through phases where I go through all 3. And every scenario it depends on what the criticism is, too. Yeah. I don't think I'll ignore it. I think I'm past that phase.
Yeah.
But the getting defensive, I might get defensive. It's something I really care about, and it's something I feel like, I did put my best effort forward and it just didn't work out or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think at this phase, if all those variables are checking out, I have no problem with changing my actions or whatever they're criticizing me for, and making the adjustment. I think you're a moron if you don't do that.
Well, and again, I'm gonna Proverbs talks a lot about correction, and there's one that I wanted to pull up, and we talk about correction today, but intertwine discipline in with that as well. And it says, for the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it.
So how many times my parents quoted that Bible verse?
Oh, seriously?
To me growing up,
discipline as they're spanking you.
Yeah, they quoted that relentlessly.
That's Proverbs 12:11.
I'm still feeling the ass beatings when I hear that. When I hear that.
And there's another one. Whoever ignores instruction despises himself, but he who listens to reproof gains intelligence. So if you are so closed-minded that you can't handle correction, guidance, advice, that is a sign that you just really don't love yourself, and you don't want to be better, and you don't want to enjoy this life that we have the opportunity to be here, this this one shot here on this earth, and we don't want to take advantage of it. But the person that actually hears it is going to benefit from it, is going to grow, and all the things that we've been talking about. It's one of those things. Back to the beginning in your initial question is like, how do I handle correction? It's hard because I do want to grow and I do want to do those things. I just think, like you said, ego always gets in the way. When you feel attacked, you get defensive. The times that my marriage, my professional life, my family, my social life have been the best is when I've been most open to correction and fixing and working on things that maybe are in my life that are taking me on a path, a different way from where I want to go.
Is there a time to stand up for yourself? Could you take that too far of you're constantly taking feedback and constantly hearing what other people say and you're constantly taking the coaching and you're always open to what other people are saying? Or is that even in that question, is that ego saying, don't take that, don't stand up for yourself?
Yeah. And I was the person too, that I believed everything and all I heard was corrections. Right. I didn't hear any of the positive stuff. I didn't hear any of the, hey dude, great job. Great. No. Like, no way. Like I still to this day don't take compliments well. Yeah. So all I wanted was the correction because of our background. And that's all it was. Like I was loved through correction. And so that's all I hear. And so in my head, I've already probably, honestly, before someone even comes to me to correct me, I've already probably told myself that 10 times.
Yeah.
So is there a point where you say, okay, hold on, like I can't just do everything for everyone and be what everybody wants me to be? Yeah, I think there is. But that's why you take a moment, you pause, and you filter it through. And the 3 that you mentioned, as well as, okay, now does this correction take me in the direction I want to go or does it not? And if I do correct it, will it take me closer to that goal or that relationship or whatever? Then yeah, implement it. But you have to have your own, you have to have your own understanding of who you are and where you want to go first and foremost, because that's a filter that everything's got to go through. And if you are just blown in the wind and just kind of taking what life throws at you day by day, like it's hard to be able to filter that through something.
Yeah. The other thing I think about is I'm also not good at giving criticism. I'll never leave a bad review. It's hard for me to criticize people and give them feedback.
Yeah.
And so but sticking with the receiving criticism, that's also another thing I think about, which is if that was hard for that person, it was probably awkward for that person to deliver that feedback. So that means even more to me. Yeah. That was a gift.
Yeah.
They are ignoring now again, some people are fine with it. They're great with giving criticism. They don't care. Yeah. But some people, like me, it's hard for them. And I know it's hard for them. Yeah. And so I see it as a gift. Wow, you are ignoring your discomfort to help me make this correction. Yep. And so that I appreciate that.
Now, there are some people wired that love it.
Love giving criticism. Oh, absolutely. And again, it all filters to that. Who's the person giving this to me? Some people love it and they don't have a problem with it at all. But I'm somebody that I do have a hard time giving criticism and correct, because I don't feel like it's my place. I don't feel like I have no authority here to be giving criticism. And so whenever somebody does to me, I see it as a gift. Thank you for that feedback. Now I have the opportunity to change and get better.
Yes.
When I know that was probably awkward for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's a discipline. Like if you and I are wired the same in that way. I hate that. Like I'm going to compliment you till cows come home, but it is hard for me to give it. But the few times that it's like, okay, I'll step out and actually do that. I think also as
now I want to caveat, give me on a soccer field with a bunch of 6-year-olds. I got no problem giving some feedback.
100%.
I'm the criticism king out there.
Oh man, 100%. So true. Oh man. And I give criticism just by looks now. I don't even have to say anything. Just that disappointed dad look. But also too, as we're talking through correction and you're giving correction, is also just understand who you are in relationship to that person, and understand and don't just like frivolously give it out. Like you've got to be very deliberate and intentional about when, where, and how you give constructive criticism. Because again, if it's not delivered well, it's not delivered how that person can hear it, because you may have the same criticism, but for 3 different people it needs to be said and delivered 3 different ways.
Absolutely.
So
that's the tricky part about it, man.
In order for it to be received, right?
Like, you can have all the information in the world and you could have every point and be totally justified.
Yes.
But you deliver it the wrong way, that message is not going to be heard.
I'm telling you, it's the amount, like, not everybody is just blessed with emotional intelligence, but you can grow emotional intelligence. Just pause and be aware. Maybe think about, okay, who is this person? What have my interactions been like? Deliver it in a way that they can. It's funny. We had a meeting Friday with a head of HR of a large technology company here in Dallas. And literally one of the things that she was saying is she's like, hey, do you guys have like analytics on like people with high emotional intelligence? Because literally if I could hire everybody just based off of emotional intelligence, I would. Yeah. So again, there is an importance in that. And so you may not necessarily be gifted with it and understand scenarios. So slow down, figure out who that person is that you're giving criticism or correction to, and really try to do your best to deliver that in a way that can be received and implemented. Yeah. Because otherwise you're doing them a disservice by just throwing it out there. And then now they're going to be more numb to that topic if it's something that really does need correction. Yeah.
You know, another element of criticism, I'm curious how you're going to approach it with your kids that's been introduced in the last 15 years through social media, is criticism from strangers online. You know, as adults, and especially you played professional football, you were getting criticism all the time from people you didn't know, fans, things like that. So you got really good at, I'm sure, ignoring the noise. But your 15-year-old daughter in a few years, she's never going to have gone through that before. Have you thought about yet how you're going to approach conversations with her when she gets, she posts a selfie or whatever and some random troll makes a mean comment, and to her that's the end of the world. To you it's like, that's dumb, you don't know the person, but to her that's gonna be the end of the world. Yeah. Have you thought about that at all, how you're gonna address that? Because it hurts, right? I mean, you're 15 and you post a picture of yourself and you're putting yourself out there and somebody says, well, aren't you ugly, or whatever they say. Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
I think kids already get it. She's 11. My oldest is 11. My 6-year-old ain't hearing it. She already knows I'm beautiful. Yeah. And so my 11-year-old will be will definitely be more sensitive about it. And one, you're assuming that she's going to be on social media at 15. So that's
there you go. Maybe that's the answer right there.
No. I don't. The answer is not shield them from the real world. Because the second she's old enough to do it, I'm assuming she'll be on it probably. Right. I mean, we're gonna we'll have conversations about the risks and the rewards. Is it worth it? But with her, that's just got to be constant reinforcement. So it all comes back to, okay, as a father, as a mother, how are we pouring into them their entire youth, right?
No doubt.
Are they susceptible to that? Are they getting crushed by it because opinions of others matter that much, because I'm not confident enough in myself? Mm-hmm. So I think the focus is less on teaching how to handle that, but teaching to believe in yourself and know who you are first and foremost, so that you already have the shield to block out that noise. Yeah. And that's an easy answer, right? Because that's a long process.
No, I'm with you, though. I think you're exactly right. The foundation has to be set way before 15 on who she is, what her value is, who she belongs to, right? Those things. There was a kid in our town not long ago that ended up taking his own life because of cyberbullying. And so it's like, that just breaks your heart as a parent. Because you think, what could I have done? What should I have done? What conversation should I have been having? Mm-hmm. For something seemingly so outside of your control. But I think you're right. Like, she's 11 now, not on social media, so it's the conversations you have with her today that are gonna take now. Will it still sting at 15? Probably. Yeah. She'll still have that initial gut reaction of, this sucks. Of course. Yeah. She's a human being. She's not a robot. Yeah. But it's how many times has she heard the positive as opposed to that one negative. I think will be huge in that. Yeah. I mean, you dealt with criticism on a level most of us don't have to, which is you're a professional football player getting every single thing judged for 7 years of your life, 10 years of your life. How did you deal with it back then when you were playing ball? Because athletes are arguably the most criticized. There's no doctor being, criticized by journalists on every little move he makes in the waiting or in the operation OR. So how did you deal with that then?
Yeah. It depends. I didn't care much about media or like fans. That didn't bother me as much, but I did care about my coaches and teammates. Mm-hmm. Like those two like consumed me for a long time until and I'll get to it, until my last year, and I'll explain what that is, why that changed my last season as opposed to my previous career. So I didn't spend much time on social media. I've never been that, so I didn't hear a bunch of it. Mm-hmm. People would like send me stuff and be like, "Oh, aren't you so mad?" Like, what?
Yeah.
First of all, like, if you have ever been the person that like sends somebody an article or sends them something that is bad about them and say, "Oh, aren't you so mad?" or, "Man, that's like, what are you trying to accomplish?" All you are doing is making that person feel worse.
Right.
Don't like, however you spin it, however you like, don't like a quick, "Hey bro, love you." Or, "Hey, here for you if you ever need anything." Just leave it at that. But like, I don't know. So I never really read anything unless somebody like sent me something. I never listened to sports radio. I just never did because I didn't really care.
So it sounded like that first filter, you got that pretty quickly, which is, where's this coming from?
Yeah, who is it?
You were able to filter out very quickly what was worth your time and what you wasn't.
Yeah, there's this writer, and he's a local radio guy now. He used to work for the Cowboys, and apparently he just didn't like me at all. And so,
you're pretty unlikable.
So true. But it bothered my mom so much.
Oh, did it?
And
so
she was always,
read the articles.
Google alerts. So
well,
every time.
I bet your family members knew all about it.
Oh my gosh. And my father-in-law was the worst. Like but like my mom now still will be like, "Hey, did you see?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "Oh yeah, the article that was written." I was like, "What?" "Yeah, you were in it. They were talking about you." I was like, "Mom, it's been 7 years." Like, "Oh, they talked about when you got traded with Sharik McManus." I was like, "That was 2012." Like, let's come on.
Mama's got to protect their babies.
Gosh, I love her because literally, like, she is like number one fan. I love it. But anyways, so there was this writer he was a scout for a while, and then he was this writer, and he was pegged this like Nostradamus of like football, and he was like the insider, and he was so smart and this and all that. And I'm like, when you get inside of a building and anybody that is not in those team meetings, in those offensive game plan meetings, defensive game plan meetings, special teams meetings, whoever is not inside of those meetings and makes an opinion based on play and that they did this wrong and they did that wrong and they did this, like, they're full of crap because they don't know. You don't know what the coaches are telling them. You don't know what the footwork is. You don't know what the hand placement is. You don't know what the read is. You don't know what the adjustments are. You don't know what the check was at the play. You don't know 75% of what they were supposed to do. You're just making an assumption, right? And so he used to come out with all this stuff, and I'm like, well, but he was a Super Bowl winning scout, and you probably know who I'm talking about now. But like, and it's like, well, that's fine, and he may know ball, and he may know personnel, and he may know all these things, but like, he has no idea what I'm running at the left wing on kickoff return. No idea. He has no idea what I'm running on fullback versus a 4-3 over defense on a wide zone bend back, and then we check it to something else. Like, he has no idea. So like, whatever he says, like you said, through that first filter, it's just not valid.
What about the off chance that the person that you don't have a relationship with, or that you do dislike, what happens when they do have a good spot on criticism?
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
And like sports analysts, they
sometimes
do. They do. They literally sometimes they do. And especially with all the analytics and all that they've got going now, like, it helps. But I think it's how the order you put that filter in. Right? I think it's okay. Is there something there? Like, self-evaluate. And then it's, all right, how's it being delivered? And then who is it?
Right.
Right. And I think you've got to kind of put it in that order, because if you just put the who is it first and it's like, oh, I don't care about you. Like,
yeah, ultimately it's what am I trying to accomplish?
Yes.
If I'm trying to accomplish something, I don't care where the criticism comes from. If I think it's going to help me get to that place,
yes,
I'm going to take that all day long.
That's right.
And I'm going to implement that all day long.
Yeah.
It's the variables that get weird beyond that.
Yeah.
That may get a little tricky. But yeah, I don't care who criticizes me. If it's something I'm after and I think it's going to help me, I'm all in.
Man, and I just think of like through my journey of like handling that criticism and correction wisely, is how much more, in addition to just fixing that you learn, right? If you're intentional about correcting something, typically you're going to invest into some sort of discipline into doing that. Like, think of the ancillary benefits that come from that as well. It's not just like, oh, hey, I just want to let you know you're getting a little bit overweight. You need to probably go to the gym. It's like, okay, you know what? Let me take a look at it. I'm pretty unhealthy. You know what? You're probably right. I should probably stop maybe drinking as much as I do. I should probably clean up my diet, and I should probably be active. Like, think of all of the benefits that come from that. All of just that one point of correction.
It's a small price to pay.
Right.
Very uncomfortable comment, stings.
Yeah.
But think about all the good that's going to come out of
or like, okay, think of like a group of guys and this is probably an uncomfortable topic, but like, hey, bro, like, I see you out. I know you're married, you got a family at home. Like, I see you out. I want you to know, man, like, I see you doing some things that I don't agree with, maybe with other women. I think that you need to go work on that, or you need to, fix this path. Right. It's a hard conversation, but unfortunately it happens way more than like I'd ever like to even admit that it does. Right. Now, I'm not talking about, I'm saying like out there, right? Like, and it's one of those things, but if someone catches you and is like, hey, I'm going to offer some counsel and some guidance, advice, correction, think about if you're out and you're doing that, right? And you're out, relationships outside of your marriage, and probably not great with your kids, probably not. Probably there's other things that are going on in your life. And so if you're probably not happy with yourself. You probably maybe have some sort of addiction. There's a lot of things that can go on in that. But like that one piece of correction could literally change the life of someone else. It could change the life of someone that's going through that. And it may feel hopeless. It may feel like, man, like like my wife does this, or they do that, or, like they deserve it, or they're not giving me what I need, and so I got to go somewhere else. Like that's a lonely place living there. But like when you are starting to correct that, and then it's like, okay, now let's look inside my marriage, but most importantly, let's look inside of me. Think of the healing that can all come from that. And as opposed to rejecting that, ignoring that, cutting that person out of their life. And there's this literally the exact situation happened with some great friends of ours. I'm not going to get too into it, but like literally our best friends in life, the wife was out having an affair and was my wife's best friend. And my wife said, listen, I love you. I'm always going to be there for you. I want to start with that, but like, I can't stand by and just say that this is okay, because it's not okay. And cut my wife and me out of their life. And I mean, I just saw just a really, a deep sadness associated with that. And that's just unwise to choose that, to choose sadness, right? As opposed to taking it like, listen, okay, this is my closest person, and they're offering correction and they're offering accountability, and I'm going to shut them out. Yeah. Like that is the wrong way to do it. And I'm telling you, the other side of that is, you may think, oh, no, they're getting in the way. I'm having fun right now. The other side of that is destruction. If you are going to ignore that, the other side of that is destruction, and that's where it led. Yeah. And so it's kind of a depressing downer conversation, but like, we're talking about like, oh, clean up the dishes. There's correction. Hey, actually like put the toilet seat down, you know, after you pee, like funny correction, all the way to the other side that's like impacting generations and families. No doubt. You know what I mean? Yep. So anywhere in between, but ignoring it all together, like you said, is folly. Like it's stupid. It's idiotic to completely ignore or combat criticism or you know, constructive criticism or correction.
Yeah, I agree. And I think at this point in my life, I am all for feedback, criticism. And I think it's more of a function of not necessarily age, because we had this conversation when I'm 20. It's probably a different perspective that I have. Yeah. And I don't think it's a function of age as much as a function of I've seen so many good examples of how criticism, feedback has impacted me positively. Yeah. And so I have so many good examples of the bright side of feedback. Very few examples of the negative side that I'm okay with it at this point. Yeah. And again, I think it's more about quantity and quality of those as opposed to any sort of age. I don't think you don't just grow out of it just because you're a certain age. You grow out of it because you've had so much experience with it.
You know what's crazy is like think about people that handle that best. Typically are the older, wiser, right? Like the older you get, the more you are open to correction. Yeah. And if you think about like, typically you're like, all right, the older you are, the wiser you are. Like, I don't think that age is a lock to mean that you're wise.
Certainly not.
But what you do see is you do see the ones that are resistant to criticism and the ones that are open and responsive to criticism. And those two paths, that's that wisdom path that you get to choose to follow. Yeah. Because the wisest people that I've ever been around, man, are constantly, they'll even ask for it.
Yeah. No doubt.
How can I be better? Yeah. How can I serve you? How can I, asking those things. And that is 100% a sign of wisdom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a good conversation to have because it's your ego comes into play massively in this. And it's not fun sometimes to get that. But again, I think if you can look at the bright side of it, is this helping me accomplish what I want to accomplish? There's only good that comes out of it, in my opinion. Even if it's coming from a shitty source or that wasn't delivered in the best way possible. At the end, if I can filter through all that and get my ego out of the way, usually it's there to benefit me. And I'm appreciative of it. Yeah.
I think just remember, like, criticism is like sarcasm or, humor. Like there's probably a little bit of truth to most of it.
Absolutely.
Not all of it, but most of it.
Yeah. It's on a spectrum.
Yeah. Right? So be selfish and figure out what can I take from it.
Or just do what I do, put them on a shit list, and then at the very most vulnerable, get them back.
Cut their knees out from under them in front of everybody.
Find where they're weakest and attack that.
Attack it.
That's how you handle criticism.
Yes, don't respond.
The end.
That's what we're saying. Don't respond right now. Go home, strategize on how you're going to take that person down.
That's right. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was helpful. If it was, please share the podcast. That's how you can help us grow this thing. Text it to a buddy, text it to a group, all the good stuff. Follow us on all the social medias.
All the socials.
Again, we're looking for somebody that can help us out with that. So if you or somebody you know is good with socials, let us know. Hit us up. Anything else? Any closing thoughts? Final words?
No, man.
Love?
No. Yeah, I think that was good. Hey, dude, we're praying for you. We're excited for you. Next time you hear us after this episode,
I'll be very sleep deprived.
Yeah. Yes. Very, very much. Sweatpants, throw up all over them.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it.
Right. Love it. Back to start the clock over, baby.
But man, we're praying for y'all, man. Give our best to Whit.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.